Hi there, this is Ms. Heather from the High School Counseling Office with a short webinar in the final phase of our diagnostic testing program for juniors. Everybody was able to sit one or more diagnostic testing experiences, and now let's talk about next steps. So we are trucking along on the test prep timeline. You can see that we've spent the spring in a diagnostic testing mode, and now it's time to establish your prep plan. Over the summer, we encourage you to begin your test preparation plan, heading towards the first round of official testing in April or March. Then continue to prepare with a second round of tests in May or June, and only if needed to continue preparation through the winter break and sit a third test in either September or October. But our goal would be to use diagnostic testing information to get you on the right track. And then it's up to you to begin to prepare intentionally, strategically, so that you can sit two tests and get the score you need to present the strongest information on your university application. So we're right on track, but now it's time to prepare. So you could have had 4 possible data points and 4 possible experiences to inform your decision about how to move forward. The PSAT and pre-ACT, those might have been the second time around for you as well, and then a full diagnostic sitting for either the SAT or the ACT. And with those data points now, the goal was to have you compare not only your scores, but your kind of experiences with the different exams. Arbor Bridge, which is the test prep company that we are using as the industry standard, generically suggests that the overall percentile scores, the highest being potentially the right test for you, but you'll see quickly that most of you who did choose to take the SAT and ACT tested equivalently, which is totally normal. So splitting hairs about the highest percentile score, if it's +1 or +5, is a challenging way to move forward. So let's talk about how we can help you nuance your choices a bit more. Here's a concordance table that has been prepared by the official test prep companies themselves to help us understand how to make sense of one score relative to another. If you need to pause on this slide, you can at any time. But you can see that the scores on the ACT on the left are associated with the range of scores, either 20 to 30 points in the SAT. So you can see that if you have one kind of score, you are likely expected/predicted to get the following score on the corresponding test. So stop this slide if you need to find your scores and make any references, and then otherwise I'll move on. So that's the person who likes to look at the table. Here's another visual representation of that: the ACT on the x-axis, the SAT on the y. So you can kind of plot your points. But certainly the way that I reviewed the data that was available for those of you that took both tests, most of you ended up in this judgment call area. You tested very similarly on the ACT and SAT and then ended up kind of, it'll be your choice. So let's remind ourselves, what are the factors around which you should make a judgment call? I'll move through this quickly, but you can stop on this slide at any time, and these were also presented in the webinar that we talked about way back in September and October. Pacing and time management are certainly different on both exams. That's a reason to choose one over another if the scores are relatively the same. The reading sections have similar amount of passages, but a totally different amount of time dedicated to each, and kind of the difficulty level of the material. The science section either is there or is not, but if you have strength in reading comprehension, it may be for you. Math has a strong difference between calculators, question format, formulas, etc. And finally, the grammar, similar in presentation, different in terms of pacing. The essay, given that the world is still changing, but for your cohort, we are going to still strongly recommend you sit the writing portion of the exams. The US is on track to begin to peel away the essay as a required component from universities. It's always optional according to the test prep companies, but it always depends upon what the university wants. There are still some key systems in schools that require it, so we basically suggest you sit at period, and actually the world universities are going the other direction where they are more often requiring the essay section. So please include it in your plan, because if you don't take the essay, you can't just sit that section in the future. You have to sit all sections to get that essay score. Okay, so you've got your score, you've got those concordance tables, you are deciding, which score may be quote higher, and then all of these factors which allow you to make a judgment call. Here are some basically then groupings of kids as you move forward with your test prep plan. Students who are scoring below 20 on the ACT or below a 1050 on the SAT, your test prep plan should start now, and it should focus on content. So you need to find materials or a tutor that will help you with content and instruction, as well as kind of the coaching aspects of strategy. For those students who are scoring above a 29 on the ACT and maybe above a 1350, materials or tutoring instruction need to be much more laser focused on strategy and high scoring skills, and your focus should be on practice testing versus maybe content review, because you are missing a very small number of questions as it is, and your goal is to hone in on those to see how you can eliminate those remaining errors. Also, you might be a student who is seeing a strength in one area of the STEM sections and maybe a weakness in, let's just say, the corresponding area in the reading and writing skills. The goal is to not necessarily be equivalent, but to close the gap if possible, and learn how to leverage the skills that you're using in your strong section and apply it to the section that you need improvement on. So the idea is that it's not accessing a completely different skill set, but see how you can bridge the gap using skills that you're already really that are already well developed and helping you score well in a certain section. Anybody that is eligible for any kind of accommodations in your academic program here at NITO, extended time or some other accommodations, should determine if they are eligible to apply for accommodations officially through SAT and ACT. We have an official process that Miss Mo Stegner manages, and that needs to be put into motion immediately. That also may determine which test you take depending upon which organization grants accommodations. But this is absolutely a time for everyone to leverage all the accommodations that help them show what they know. This is a time to lean into all the ways that you will be able to demonstrate your knowledge and receive the highest score. So if extended time is something that helps you, we encourage you to pursue this for the SAT or ACT, but it's super important that you engage NITO to apply on your behalf. Everybody who has anxiety, doubts, a negative kind of narrative going on in their heads about, I'm just not good at testing. Unfortunately, you don't get to put an asterisk next to your score and say, I could do better if I didn't hate it so much. Your mental game is going to be a critical component of your training between now and your official tests. So you need a coach, you need mindfulness, you need to have step-by-step goals so that you can begin to translate your narrative into positive affirmations, into standing behind the time you're going to invest in moving towards a higher score. Anybody with significant extracurricular time commitments needs to understand how this additional commitment will integrate into the schedule, and also plan ahead for any official exams that are happening on Saturday in 2020, and if those conflict with any scheduled off-campus activities that you have, such as SAC or something like that. And then finally, anybody who, for these tests are in fact made for native mother tongue English speakers and do disadvantage second language learners in English just by design. But for those students who are or English language learners might do some important work to dovetail preparation for the SAT and ACT to go with their preparation for English language proficiency exams like the TOEFL or the IELTS. Because the way that you prepare to succeed on the TOEFL to demonstrate English proficiency will help you succeed on either of these exams. So English language learning students need to set particular goals and to seek out particular materials that will help elevate that component of their test preparation and kind of double dip while they're preparing for the TOEFL as well. Everybody, so this is the last kind of group, everybody needs to understand that you need to prepare now. We began talking about diagnostic testing in September, and it's now December, and it's time to get going. So investing in time, students, you need to invest some time. Parents, you can need to decide how much you would like to invest in this test preparation journey. Everything from free online to a very affordable hard copy resources, all the way up to tutoring. Individualized tutoring. But the point is, everybody deserves to prepare, and it's really important to start now. The summer, Southern Hemisphere summer, comes at an interesting time when everybody in the Northern Hemisphere is taking a short holiday break, and they also need to begin their test preparation, but it is on top of their pretty heavy-duty academic load. These 6 to 8 weeks are a true gift and a way to get you started in a way that will give you a great advantage in your test preparation over other cohorts of kids not on the Southern Hemisphere schedule. Really important, everybody that needs to prepare for any test should join a webinar on Thursday with an expert who will help you understand what you need to know about test preparation. Practice works. Learn why. This is in the data that any amount of practice results in an improved score. Your practice should apply to you and your particular data. That is why diagnostic testing is so important, because you have to know where you're starting and you just don't start from scratch. So practice needs to be personalized. Learn how through this webinar. Practice needs to be planned. Learn when you need to schedule your time to prepare. And then of course Q&A. So parents and students are welcome to join us at 7:45 to 8:45 this Thursday, December 19th in the library. This is just the hour prior to a mandatory IB deep dive for all juniors in the full IB. So even though I know it's a little early, there's absolutely no excuse for anybody who needs to be here at school on Thursday to miss this webinar. Parents, again, are welcome. The next steps are the following. Please attend the webinar on Thursday. We're really trying to give you as much information as we can to launch you on the right path for diagnostic testing. I did send out and will resend out a Google form so I can judge attendance. I don't want to waste this person's time. The expert is joining us from Germany. I just want to make sure people will be there. It's really important for you to pour over your own score reports. And then for those of you in the Arbor Bridge program, well, everybody now needs to choose a test. There were definitely juniors in this class that did not choose both and kind of went one way already. They only tested SAT or they only tested ACT, and that's a clear decision in my view. But those of you who need to review a pair of reports need to do so and then choose your test. And then it's very important, anybody in the Arbor Bridge program needs to schedule their 2-hour expert tutoring session as soon as possible, because that is the key launch pad for your individualized test prep program. And then everybody needs to begin to practice. Okay? We've done it together. It's really exciting to kind of set you on a path, allow you to move forward with what you know and let go of things that seem mysterious. You've worked hard to sit these exams, I know, under challenging circumstances when the schedule was quite in flux. We appreciate your flexibility. We appreciate your dedication. And all of this investment is paying it forward, because there is no cramming, there's no mystery. Standardized testing, although it feels somewhat high stakes, there is a great deal you can know about it in advance, and there's an incredible way that you can prepare to feel completely confident that you are going to get the score that you need to support your college applications. We'll see you Thursday, 7:45 in the library. Thanks for listening.